All right, what's going on YouTube? Back at you in another video. All right, guys. So today we're kind of just gonna yap, but we're gonna talk about more so when you really start to take things serious and your standards increase. I was talking to a good friend about this earlier, but you become more, you just become more objective of your reality, but of the people around you. I'll give you guys an example. So, someone who I no longer associate with because misalignment. They don't inspire, motivate. Go in a different direction. It is what it is. But it's funny because someone mentioned to me that, oh, when he gets back from his trip, and I know he's gonna drink, hang out with chicks, do all those things. When he gets back, he's gonna lock in. See, the old me would have been like, okay, yeah, I believe him. But now I'm thinking, hang on, all the locked in people I know, every day is Monday. That doesn't make sense. If you were going there, you'd be locked in there, and then when you get back, you'd be locked in. Small little things like that. And I know it seems really basic, but for the longest, if you've been listening, you've probably viewed people off of potential. Oh, they said they're gonna do these things. Oh, they're awesome. But then when you get more objective about it and you watch them and you just observe reality, oh wait, they're not actually doing any of those things. And the scary part is, oh, you recognize yourself that okay, you also used to be like that. So you're like, okay, now it's like, okay, so when you actually locked in, you understand what that means. But that's why you have to meet and interact with someone that's locked in. Because it's very easy to see it on YouTube. When you talk to them, that's why I like a community where if you guys can get on a Zoom call or anything, it's fine. But that's why that's important because when you understand what the standards are of locked in people, when you're doing all those right things, you stop worrying about outcomes. The whole law of detachment, for the longest time, I was like, how do I not care? But you're doing lean because you want abs, right? So how do you not care about abs? You won't care about the abs when your standards get so high and you know you're doing all the right inputs. You don't care anymore because you literally know it's coming. The only difference between me and the least version of myself is time. But the law of consciousness, the inner must reflect the outer at a certain point, you know? So once you get to that point, oh, this is easy. You just have to. That's the thing. It's like something clicked in my mind. Oh, hang on. I'm doing all the right things, all I need in time. That's all I needed to hear. Okay, let me just focus on my inputs, focus on the inputs, make sure the inputs are consistent, make sure you're approaching them, make sure you're working out, make sure you're doing all those right things, and boom, everything will work out. And I think that becomes very important when, you might be going through stuff, you know, you got that credit card debt, a lot of things. But when you're going through all these things, you got to fall back to your non-negotiables. What are you going to do regardless? And it really blew my mind. And it might sound crazy, but in my community that I'm in, I'm blessed to be in now. There was someone that they lost a friend, and he still said he was going to go to the gym. And I know a lot of you think, oh no, that's crazy. That's the one time it's okay. But when you're around locked in people, they have very valid excuses. But even with those excuses, they still show up. They still do all the correct things. See, when you're in around an environment like that, this shit fundamentally changes you. I can't. I actually can't go back to the old version of myself because it's almost impossible. Just when you're around locked in people, one or two things are gonna happen, and it's gonna happen to you literally. You take the same person, you put them in an environment where everyone's motivating them or wants to be better, they're gonna move towards the direction. But that same person, someone's telling them to work out, they're like, "Oh no, I don't want to do that," or "Oh, you think you're better than us?" It's that clown energy. But I'm telling you, there's nothing more powerful than being around locked in people. Because when you go from, if you're listening to this video, likely you're actually the main character, and not even I'm not even trolling. You're actually the main character because no, so few people do self improvement, but you're actually doing it. So you're the most locked in person you know. So when you go from that to an environment where everyone mogs you, everyone's got six pack abs, and they also make more money than you. For me, it was, oh my, oh, this is awesome. Wait, hang on, there's so much levels to this. It gives you that childlike wonder. But other people, they might be like, oh damn, like, hang on, I didn't realize it'd be this difficult. So that's another thing too. I want to talk about. I made a post about it like a couple of days ago, or was it yesterday? I don't know, but Not talking about like, you can't. This is something. It took me interacting with a lot of people to understand. You can't have it both ways. You can't have two identities. You can't say you want to be locked in, yet want to party every weekend because locked in people, they vibrate so highly. They don't do that. They treat every day as Monday. That's one of the most powerful sayings I've heard. Every day is Monday. Because when you recognize that you have to show up every day, including holidays, including weekends, that makes the diet stuff, it fundamentally changes you because you're like, oh, hang on, I gotta eat these same meals every day. Which in the beginning might be like, oh, that's difficult. But when you get to the point where like, oh, this is fine. Yeah, Monday through Sunday, rinse and repeat. We're gonna eat the same meals. Hit the protein goal. Boom, 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 boom. Because that remember the diet is where that's where the winners and losers. That's where the champions are made. It's the diet. If you can eat the same boring meal, and for me, it's eating the same boring meals every day. That's my superpower because I know that's something very few people can do. Even the locked in people, they gotta occasionally, do this, do that. But I can. I'm perfect. Well, I'm perfectly fine eating like that to the end of time because I've already eaten the foods for so long. It doesn't. That's the thing too. It's not even from ego that I say that because yeah, I'm eating like this for essentially a year. With very few days I'd go out, very few days, and now we're almost 2 months in of eating the same meals. I mean the same two meals, like no, the same two meals, you know. But when you're around locked in people and you have the identity shift, it makes it so effortless. Because I know the things I'm doing now, people would think it's difficult, but I know I'm like, this is easy. This is the bare minimum because there's so much other things you have to work on. That's how you have to conquer the diet first, and then lust too with SR. You have to this is the base, the bare minimum. But it doesn't make it exceptional. But funny enough, it does because the bar is so held. I'm telling you, the amount of the gooftivity, one of my new favorite words, gooftivity, the goofy foods. It's funny. Someone in the community they put it was like cinnamon toast crunch flavored bacon. I was like, oh my god! And then they had like this special flavored Oreos. I'm like, Jesus, man, we've gone so backwards to the point where people remember they're making these foods because people are eating them. That's another thing too. When you really start to get some improvement and you become very objective, you're gonna really realize that yeah, everyone's actually cooked. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. That's why you're the weird one because snacking on gummy worms and Haribo gummies, which my coworkers do, that's normal. But eating eggs and ground beef every day, you're the crazy one. You have to. The way I always describe it is, you take all emotion out of it and you just observe reality as it is. Hang on, like if there's like 8 million people on the planet or whatever, like what 3 million are diabetic. It's a lot. A lot of people are diabetic, and it's going to get worse. But so much people don't take care of their health. Just things like that, you become very objective and observant of because you think, oh, hang on, everyone's locked in like me. Oh, everyone works out. Everyone, no, that's the thing. Most people don't work out, and the people that do work out, a lot of them are LARPing working out because they're not eating correctly. So, someone that's locked in on the gym, their sleep and nutrition, that is 0.0 like 0.001% of the population. You have to you have to get to a certain point where you recognize that because for the longest, it's like I was downplaying myself because I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware. So when you become aware, you're like, oh, hang on, actually, okay, I'm doing these things that most people can't do. It gives you a confidence, and it's not from ego. It's just objective. This is something most people they don't do, and that reflects. And most people are out of shape, diabetic, and they would rather get their legs amputated than to change their habits. That's the norm. So when you go against the norm, like David Goggins, always talk about, you have to everything you want is on the other side of discomfort. So it's almost as if delayed gratification has to become the identity, and then once that becomes the identity, then you become really powerful. And these are just more things that's the thing too. That's why it's also very important. You got to listen to content creators that are where you want to be, or they just they operate a certain way, they have a certain aura, energy, and you just listen to them over and over and over again because it's gonna help. There's very few people I listen to on YouTube now, but the ones I do, trust me. As a consequence, I'm like this now. I have these thoughts, and my actions reflect them because I'm like, okay, you know. a lot of things. Retard maxing. We gotta make another video on retard maxing. But if you're like if you want to post YouTube videos or anything, just start. Don't worry so much about the how. Just start. Just do. It usually works out, and it's kind of and that's why I think a lot of anime characters they're successful. Like Luffy. Luffy's done objectively really dumb shit, right? Remember when he punched the Celestial Dragon? That was really dumb, but it worked out. Now you retard max to an extent, but ultimately I don't even think about it too much. Just if you're doing the right things, if you're doing things, if you're putting yourself out there, you will get rewarded eventually. Just retard max because the journey it's been honestly incredible. I would say you go through so much changes, so much happens around you, even people too. But you could call it almost, I guess, like the third eye awakening. But it feels like a much because I remember when I started to become aware, but now it's like another layer of just awareness. You can just see things. For me, it's I don't even if I tell someone if someone's like, oh, I want to get healthy, and you tell them what to do and they don't do it, I don't get upset anymore because that just means they didn't want it. And you can't have a higher expectation or standard for someone than they do themselves. See, when you just become very objective about things like that, this disappointment, the need to help, because you still want to help people, but you're only going to help people that want to help themselves ultimately. They have the desire to change because those are the people that you want to help. The people that say, "Oh, I want to get in shape," but they don't do anything. It's I actually respect the fat person more because at least they're one with their identity. They know they're fat, so they eat the crumble. But what's worse is saying you want the abs or you want the other side, and then you do the things of a fat person. That is objectively worse. It's a spiritual alignment. It's just damage to your confidence. It's honestly worse. That's why I said earlier, you have to pick a side. It took me a while, but I finally picked the side. Because once you pick a side, there's no more. You don't have to fake it. You just do. Because that's you. There's nothing to fake. You do these things. That's all I'm saying. You can't LARP self improvement. You can't LARP because what you do in the dark is gonna get revealed in the light, and how you look, how you talk. You can't lie about these things because you know the things that you're doing. Every day you're doing something difficult. So much people don't understand the power in that. Every day you choose to be better than that old version of you that succumbed to gluttony, succumbed to lust. Every day you do something difficult, and then if you're working out every other day you do basically 3 to 4 very difficult things that not many people can do. It's no wonder that the people that do that very consistently for years are so much further than everyone else because their identity of doing difficult it's just them. They do difficult things, or the things they do they don't view as difficult. They just do those things. It's become second nature for them. That's why I'm always saying the self-proof journey is it's going to change you because it's a spiritual journey. The gym, I'm telling you, that it's a physical journey. I mean, a spiritual journey, excuse me, disguised as a physical one. Because you're gonna go through so much changes, you know. And I always use example for me. You go from 5, 10 pound dumbbell shoulder press to 75s. Now that's a pretty steep increase in weight, but the changes you go through to get to that point is where the real benefit from this whole journey comes in. But many people, the sad part is they don't get to this point because they didn't give it enough time. Because for me, I would say it's so it's hard to describe, but essentially the last 5, 6 years it was preparations for this consciousness to have now. It took 5, 6 years of constantly trying, doing, working out consistently, improving the diet, primarily eating for fuel for over a year, almost approaching 2 years now. So it took me a while to get to this awareness, but now I just know, like, damn it, the way I think now, this is powerful. This is very powerful. It pushed further and honed even further. Now we can really make some things happen. That's how you start to think. Because anyone that can conquer gluttony and lust is going to be a dangerous motherfucker. Remember, we're trying to be the hardest motherfuckers. You gotta stay cold. Shout out to Steph's Cold. You gotta stay hard. Shout out Dave Goggins. Trying to be that best version of yourself. So you have to keep going. keep pushing it. It's really some anime shit, you know. It's like Goku is so awesome. Just it's a new level. It's a new limit to reach. You know, new limit to surpass over and over and over again. That's how you really get, honestly, when you start to do this. That's why you got to do that deep work. Because once you have these identity shifts, I'm telling you that's when everything changes. That's when everything changes because now you know you're dangerous because they can't control you with food. You can't get controlled through lust. There's very few ways to control man that has mastery over those two things. That's why it's worth pursuing. That's why you have to do it because ultimately, the more you learn and do on this journey, you rest in the awareness that okay, I have to do difficult things so they don't become difficult. Then I'll find something else difficult, and I'll do that, and I'll learn something from that, and I can use that to better myself. So you can take care of your family and change the world because that's what it's about. That's why that's another reason I record these videos too. Try to inspire, motivate, change the world. Because that's the thing too. I really learned through my community that someone that you've never interacted with in person can really change your life. That's all I needed to start recording these videos. Because the way that person changed my life, that's the same effect you want to have on people. And if doing these videos helps you do that, then boom, bam, that's the thing too. It seemed very natural for me to start recording these videos. That's why if you don't know what to do, just start retaining them. Start retaining and start working out. Eventually, the universe will pull you in the direction you need to go. That stuff's real too. That stuff's real. If you're lost, you have to. The only way to find yourself is you have to remove all the biases so you can talk to yourself, become aware, observe reality for what it is. Then you can make changes and improve. But you have to remove all the vices. That's why I always say practice. I call it true. I don't know if this thing. I call it true retention. Basically, you see retention, but no vices. Don't smoke. Don't do alcohol. You don't do anything. Don't cheat. None of that for a very long period of time. Because from doing that for a very long period of time, you're gonna learn yourself. But of course, most people, oh, it's what about the fun? What about the balance? Those people themselves, they aren't balanced. They don't know what balance is. The only way to learn what balance is you have to be out of balance for a long period. That's the only way. Because people telling you, oh, you have to pizza once in a while. They have pizza every other day. That's why you have to be very objective. The people that are telling you about this diet stuff, they're not healthy. They're literally just take one look at them. And that's another thing too. The whole lean journey, it made me start to look, and I'm thinking, oh wow, hang on. Even skinny people, they might be 20, 25%, 30. That's another thing too. My best friend, he might be 30%. Love that nigga to death, but man, he might be 30%. But he's just starting on his journey, so it's a little different. But that's the thing. It's even if you're skinny, you still might be 25, 30%. But once you just become aware and you start to see this stuff, you understand how much like calories you have to eat to maintain that weight. Things I'm telling you, you're just like, wow, hang on, this is crazy. It's not a joke. It's really not a joke. We actually need people to lock in on their health because health is wealth. It's the most important thing. It's literally your base, basically your vibration, all that stuff. It's your base. You cannot forsake it. It does not make sense to forsake it. So, hey guys, that's the video. Stay locked in. Anyone that's made it this far, well, I'm trying to like throw a little question. So the question for this video is going to be what's one identity shift that you've had that's made you stick in the habits a lot easier? You can just comment whatever, and then also comment just comment your favorite anime character. You guys know me, Deku of course, and I don't know if anyone's seen Gintama, but Gintoki, definitely one of my favorites. But yeah, stay locked in, guys. Let's all get it. Make sure you're inspiring, motivating, protect your frequency, and make sure you're doing your non-negotiables daily. But yeah, let's get it. Till next one.